Good afternoon, everybody, or it will be in about 3 minutes. This is a good video. As you know, I like to discuss the controversial issues in Satanism in the left-hand path. Wow. Something that Drew in his latter years really likes to do these days, because I can reach a lot more people and pass on so much more for them to germinate on, right? Especially this with the spring coming in. There are a lot of things going on today in Satanism, and there's a lot of issues out there, right? From fake Illuminati presentations to fact versus fiction, and that's the usual controversy you're going to find often, within the left-hand path community and, the satanic community as well, right? So the best thing we can do as individual Satanists, if you are indeed a Satanist that knows something, right, is to get out here and present esoteric truth as much as we possibly can, without breaking obligations, and secrecy to the Brotherhood and so on and so forth, or any of the other orders that we may have taken pledges in, for that matter. Now today, wow, in Drew's Book of Devilish Deeds, my Master Council Book of Devilish Deeds, I have, which is also why I'm wearing this cap that I'm wearing today, okay, I have a very cool discussion. And like I said, it's a controversial issue, of course. It's being discussed a lot in the left-hand path, and particularly in Satanism. More so, it's been being brought out more by not the Brotherhood per se, our more secretive and generational branches of the occult, but it's being brought out more by the atheistic satanic movement, right? Who really want to like to get out there and pretty much argue about everything. But the thing is, they're going to come out there arguing about everything, and once in a while, they're going to come up against somebody like Druwydion Pendragon, right? A man of knowledge. And this is where it usually blows them out of the water, of course. Because Drew likes to discuss the issues he sees in the satanic community, both online and offline. And these are more online issues, right? And discussions that we're talking about here. So today we're talking about Aleister Crowley, a Satanist or a Thelemite. Whoa. Oh, yeah. And as I said, many atheistic branches of Satanism today, atheistic Satanists, like to say Crowley, and this is what it's their story, so they're sticking to it, right? They like to say Crowley was not a Satanist. Okay. Well, I'm one of those people that wears a ring like this, okay? And it has a Bavarian Illuminati owl on it, right? And it has something very wise on it. It says the wise are silent. I'll go a step further. The wise will always be silent, okay? Because we have many secrets that are kept from the profane and reserved for the initiate. It's always been this way, ever since the Brotherhood was in the ancient cultures with the name the Brotherhood. Okay, let's get back to Aleister Crowley. Was Crowley a Satanist? Well, we absolutely know that Crowley was definitely a Thelemite, right? Much like Anton LaVey was before he became a Satanist. And there's a lot of controversy around Crowley because Crowley never used the words, I am a Satanist. Now, you do know that Crowley was around, right? We know this. I'm not going to go into all Crowley's history. I don't need to, because I'm talking about something particular here. Okay. But we know that Crowley's interests was the secret societies and all those kind of things as well. Okay. But Crowley's interest in all these things was definitely kept secret, except for some of the things he got more well known for, and some notoriety for, in fact, right? His membership in the Order Templi Orientis, the Stella Matutina, okay, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the list goes on. Crowley was involved in a lot of things. The Gnostic Catholic Church. Crowley was also a bishop in the Gnostic Catholic Church. Crowley was also a leading co-Mason. Okay. When you see Aleister Crowley in the picture where he's wearing full Masonic regalia, he has the same regalia Drew has in my closet over here. It's the whole entire uniform. And you can change out the caps depending on whether it was the Scottish Rite or the York Rite. Okay. And the jewels will change and so on and so forth, right? This is why I'm wearing this hat today. I am a consistory member. I am a member of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite. On the York side of things within Freemasonry, I'm also a past master of the Masonic Knights Templar. There is my sword for that. I have a chapeau, the full uniform for that as well, by the way. Okay. I'm wearing this hat for a reason. I moved on past the consistory degrees of the Scottish Rite for the Valley of my Scottish Rite Valley, right? And moved then into the esoteric Masonic work, which included all the Luciferian Freemasonry that Albert Pike knew about and taught, and also into the rites of Memphis Mizraim, where I actually hold a 98th degree. In the Gnostic Catholic Church, I am the primate, a bishop of the Albigensian Gnostic Catholic Church. It's strictly bloodline. It goes back to my own Cathar ancestors. There's a DePaul's over de Albies. Albi is the main area, the main seat of Cathar country. Okay, but another whole story of occult history there. Let's get back to Crowley. So I'm wearing my consistory hat in honor of Crowley. Okay. But you'll see that picture and depiction out there of Crowley wearing all of his jewels and his Masonic uniform. Okay. And it's a really cool photo. I always liked it. Okay. But I will say, Aleister Crowley was not a member of regular Freemasonry. Aleister Crowley was a co-Mason. Which brings me to another figure who was also instrumental in a lot of things that Crowley did later on in Crowley's history and stuff, which was Gerald Gardner. So basically, they were both co-Masonic brothers as well. So there's things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't have the connection to or can't tap into that current. You got to know your history, guys. That's why Drew's always saying, he's not just a Satanist leader, he's a historian as well. And I mean occult history also, not just regular history. Okay. So there's things I've earned along my way also, just like Crowley did. Here's one of them. This is my past high priest for the Royal Arch Masons apron. I was high priest of my Royal Arch chapter for 2 years, and then became a past high priest. So the story again. So you'll see there are connections with the secret societies, definitely into the occult world. And if you ask Drew, of course, the secret societies are part of the occult. Now, we have a question we ask people in our own Brotherhood School of Instruction. Do you feel that the secret societies came out of the Brotherhood, or do you believe that the Brotherhood came out of the secret societies? And my friends and brothers and sisters, the answer is the secret societies are siblings of the Brotherhood. They came out of the Brotherhood. Okay. Again, there's much, much more to the story in Real Left-Hand Path, continuity in history, right? Okay, there you go. But back to Aleister Crowley. Now, Crowley never said he was a Satanist. realized the label Satanist and even saying Satanism as an any kind of an organized movement publicly, and there's big word, publicly, which didn't happen until 1966 by Anton LaVey, another Thelemite. But prior to 1966, Satanism was underground and connected directly back to the satanic witchcraft covens in Europe. And directly actually to covens in England with a historical Grand Master of Witchcraft, George Pickengill. Now, was Crowley once a member of a Pickengill coven? Guess what? He was. He was once a member of a Pickengill coven. Although the real teachings of Pickengill, which were satanic all the way, had been already corrupted by male magisters that were hereditary magisters, but were too influenced by Christianity. Okay, another story. So they tried to, sweep the Satanism and satanic witchcraft rituals practiced by Pickengill under the rug and rewrite everything, of course. But no, we do also know Aleister Crowley was expelled from that coven by his high priest. Okay, another story. But did he actually have an association with what was connected in continuity as a Brotherhood satanic witchcraft coven? He actually did have some physical connection with it, yes. And later went on to do his own thing, of course, and met Gerald Gardner, right? Okay, well, Gardner and Crowley get together and exchange on arms with each other. And Crowley conferred the Order Templi Orientis degrees. Another entire story that Drew could talk about, because I am a Typhonian OTO. 10th degree, actually, but that's another story. Okay, so Crowley gives the OTO degrees to Gardner in exchange for Gardner initiating him into the Wiccan degrees, this new fluff bunny form of witchcraft organized by Gardner, who decided to introduce nudity into it and all these other things that were really not a part of what traditional witchcraft was about. We would have frozen our asses off in Western Europe unless you're right on top of that bonfire. Okay, but it's another story. All right. Gardner actually tainted a lot. And he also brought a lot of co-Masonic, and so did Crowley, those first years. They brought a lot of co-Masonic terminology into the craft, okay, the dark craft, which we call the wicked craft, not the Wiccan craft. Okay. Now those words Wicca and all that, they do have an origin in ancient witchcraft terminology, yes. Okay. But the whole organized thing that Gardner organized and founded after that, of course, was tainted. It was not the original satanic witchcraft, the real continuity to satanic witchcraft. Remember what Drew was always saying. We were not called Satanists or Satanism back then. The church labeled us in those things. Even the dark nobility that were Brotherhood, that were performing black masses like the De Medici, my own ancestors, right? And stuff. We're still nobility and everything, but guess what? They also met with the people. And those rights were more pagan and primitive. There were fertility rights and agricultural rights and all those kind of things too. At one time, like Drew tells people, the satanic mass and the Sabbath were one and the same, and actually in the same ritual. It was kind of like a two-part ritual, okay, like Drew would describe it. Another story, see Drew's video about the satanic mass, the history and practice of the satanic mass. I just posted it not too long ago. It was an actual offline class I did at a Brotherhood offline event last September. I discussed that further. Back to Crowley. So we know before 1966 in the public expose or the presentation of Satanism publicly by Dr. LeVay, who brought Satanism into the public. That doesn't mean secret Satanism never existed, right? Or didn't exist before 1966. We'd be total idiots, everybody. Anybody that's a half-ass scholar in any of this stuff, in the left-hand path, the occult history or non-history and occult history, right? We just think we would be stupid if we would even think that. Because we know going back in our history, there's even shamans and all that. Okay, come on, guys. Okay. Talk to somebody who doesn't know something. All right. But do not present untruths, please. Drew's out here to present truths. Big difference. And yes, it's occult truth, because what's the word occult mean? It means hidden. Hidden truth. Doesn't mean it didn't exist. It's hidden from most of the mass of humanity. Why? To the sheep. Okay. It's back to Crowley. But was Crowley a Satanist? Now, in Crowley's own mind, he was much more than just a ceremonial magician. Okay. In Crowley's mind, he was much, much more. And in Crowley's mind, the label Satanist and Satanism, weren't out there in the public at all. They weren't terminology being used. But in Crowley's own mind, Crowley believed in Satan. Okay, and Drew's telling you the truth. All you have to do is research Aleister Crowley's writings about Satan. That's all you have to do. That little simple action blows the Church of Satan, atheistic Satanists that are saying a lot of stuff about Crowley. Oh, he was never a Satanist. Out of the water. Do the research. That's how you beat them. Facts are facts. Real satanic history is real satanic history, even before 1966. And like I said, bear in mind, Dr. LeVay was himself a Thelemite before he self-proclaimed himself a Satanist. He was a believer in Crowley too. Okay. Prior to being the high priest of the Church of Satan. Crowley. Wow, an enigma. And in Crowley's younger days, the man was something. Oh, man, was he. A master magician. Very few could surpass his knowledge. He had trouble when he advanced. He couldn't cross over the abyss. And it drove him crazy. But there was something, a sad thing that was directly involved with this whole issue of why he could not cross over the abyss, everybody. He was addicted to drugs. Drew likes to smoke his weed once in a while. And back in the day, Drew did a lot of the natural hallucinogenics out there. And he did a lot that the CIA and Leary was putting out there. And he expanded his mind back in the day. But I never did it in the wrong way. I always did it shamanistically. Mystically, if you want to use the word. But Crowley went overboard, okay? And Crowley wanted to use heroin and other really, really hard drugs, okay? And Crowley, somewhere along the beaten path, lost the knowledge that the ancient goddess, the dark goddess, is the primary and primal force, regenerative force of nature, is our dark mother. And that goddess has never been a fluff bunny goddess like Gardner tried to portray her as and stuff. She's always been dark. And guess what? Common knowledge that the ancient gods and goddesses are our devils and demons that we call devils and demons today. They weren't called devils and demons back then. The church demonized them. And even today, we use those terminologies still. It's true. Okay. Let's get back to Crowley. Look at Crowley. I don't mean his later years, no. Okay. Like I said, he had problems in his later years. Lost a lot of power because of that drug abuse. And could never reach Ipsissimus. You like to say he was an Ipsissimus, but he never was able to cross the abyss. Drew knows for a fact he never got to be Ipsissimus. Okay. All right. But bear in mind these things that I'm going to tell you right now. This is critical to this video when I say about what Crowley really believed in. What did Crowley like to call himself? A, the wickedest man in the world. B, the great beast 666. Please use an informed, open mind when it comes to Sir Aleister Crowley. Bear in mind what Drew just told you. What did Crowley enjoy saying about himself? He said he was the great beast 666. The wickedest man in the world. Now, Drew's been around a long time, and to me, what I'm going to think about that, those things that Crowley was saying there, he definitely believed himself to be a Satanist. Okay. Even to have attributes that like the beast has and those kind of things. Again, remember what Drew says. We're all the beast. I think Crowley would have got there to understand that at some point. If he didn't abuse the drugs too much, he would understand what Drew understands, that we're all the beast. We all make up the body of the dragon. We're all the beast. Okay. So, again, think about what Crowley said about Satan. Look it up yourself. What he said about Satan. Okay. And how he glorified Satan. And he also called himself the wickedest man in the world, B666. Now, he was in visiting Egypt, and he came across an Egyptian display, an archaeological display, and it had the number 666. And it was right about that period of time that, these energies were channeled through to Sir Aleister Crowley, and that's where he adopted the 666 number. Okay. A little bit of fact of occult history there, guys. Okay. Live long and prosper, okay, everyone? I could say 93. I could say numerous, love is a law, love under will in honor of Aleister Crowley. That's another one to understand, guys. Particularly as a Satanist, something to study is Liber Z. Very definitely satanic philosophy. Very definitely satanic philosophy. And I might have mentioned this earlier, when Shia Bile had written his book about Nietzsche, something Drew knew way, way, way back in my earlier history as a Satanist, that Nietzsche definitely wrote a lot of satanic thought. Okay. So you owe it to yourself to study Nietzsche as well. All right, everybody. I appreciate the time with you. So in honor of Sir Aleister Crowley, a Satanist and a Thelemite. Now, Crowley's parents were Christian, so he was never a generational Satanist, no. Knew a lot of this, though, and was very, very active in the secret societies, the occult secret societies, which we know 666% are siblings of the Brotherhood. Hail Satan, everybody. You guys have a great weekend. Glad to be here today. I hope you've gained a little bit of understanding about Aleister Crowley, the way the man really did think. The man and magician, how he really did think. So mote it be. Remember what Drew always says? Always hail Satan first, then hail yourself. Live long and prosper. The law of the strong, this is our law, and the joy of the world. Crowley.